Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Big Bite Baits and Rig It with the Coach on Monday. I got my man Brandon and my man Patrick here with me today. We're going to talk a little bit about some summer fishing. But before we do, we got any questions from last week, Brandon? It was left over we might want to hit on real quickly.
Yeah, we've got one that I think you can probably jump off of into today's show. Dylan Rich 47. He asked, what is your favorite soft plastic? I figured you might use that and maybe jump into
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll say my favorite summer plastic, because everybody knows the Fighting Frog is my favorite plastic. Well, let's talk about summer plastic. Well, it used to be this big 10B2 worm that I've got laying here on the table. But I've kind of gotten more, I'm really getting more fonder of this big finesse worm every day. So it's kind of a hit or miss between the two. But right now, I would say I like this worm the best for summer fishing. Just something about it the fish seem to really like. And I'll talk more about that here in just a little bit. What else we got?
Let's see. Brendan Bradford Fishing wants to know if we've got any new baits.
Well, we don't presently, but we've got a whole scat of stuff coming out at ICAST. You know, we're going to introduce our new Sensation series, and there's, correct me if I'm wrong, I think 5 new shapes in that.
5 or 6.
Yeah, and then we've got a new inline swim bait, line through in a 6-inch model that we're going to, and we've got a new swim on coming out that's different than the one we have now. That's one of the follow-ups to it. So we've got a whole line, a couple of the jig heads and things, but we got a lot. Just stay tuned. I'm going to kind of touch on things each week as we go through and talk about some different things that we're going to have. Like today, I'm going to give you some new colors and some worms. So some of the things that we're going to offer at ICAST, and that's not that far away. So we'll gradually work our way to that.
Okay.
So I just want to say real quick before we get started today that we got our Paragon hats back in stock. We've got the gray and black, which I really like. They're $24.99, and we also have the blue and white one back in stock. We don't have the green one yet, but we've got 2 of the colors back. So definitely if you're interested in getting one of these hats, I know last week they sold really well when people figured out we had them back. So anyway, if you'd be interested in buying a Paragon hat, you can get them on the webpage. They're listed and they're ready to go. So, and it's a good Richardson hat and it wears really well. So that kind of leads me into today's show. So I thought today I might talk just a few minutes about summertime fishing. It's starting to get hot here in Alabama. The temperatures beginning to rise. We've had 90-degree days last week. We've been fortunate this week. It's going to rain all week, so it's not going to be that way. But the fishers slowly begin maybe to migrate out to deeper type water. So I just thought today I might talk about several baits that we offer that are really good in deep water. Some of them are kind of old school, but we're going to kind of try to put a little bit of a modern twist on some of them if we can. Let's just start with a K-tail worm. This is one we've had here at our company for a long time. It's got a big, thick tail on it. It pulls a lot of water. Anglers that like this worm like it because it moves a lot of water. And that's kind of what it's designed to do. It comes in 16 colors. And, of course, it comes in 2 sizes, but the 10 inch is by far the most popular. And that's what we call the K-tail worm. And then we have the 10B2, which is old standby. The ribbon tail, 10-inch ribbon tail. Very good worm. It's very popular. It comes in 17 colors, and all of those colors are in really good fish catching colors. My favorite color in the bunch is plum apple, but we're going to offer some new colors. We've got a Florida grape color coming out, which is what I call an old school black grape. We've got a fire lightning color coming out, which is like blue, sapphire blue on one side and a red metal flake on the other. We've got the plum without the apple. And then we've got hematoma, which is a good color in some of our other baits. We're going to move it into the 10B2. And then crime scene, which is green pumpkin green on one side and plum apple on the other. So got some really neat colors coming out of this particular worm. All right, and then the third worm that I want to just kind of mention is our finesse worm, our 8-inch model, the FW8. We have 15 colors in this worm. Probably the most, it's kind of a toss-up, I think, Brian, between the popular colors. That the green pumpkin Texas red, the plum apple are really, really popular. The tilapia magic is beginning to gain ground, the June bug candy, and then we're going to add a new color, crime scene this time around. The same crime scene we just talked about in the B2. So it gives some anglers a little more opportunity. So let's just talk a minute about how to rig them. I mean, most anglers on this worm, I think, as a whole, normally Texas rig this worm, or either they might put it on the end of a Carolina rig and pull it. But I did notice Sunday, I don't know if you noticed this or not, I was watching the guys out at Lake Fort with bass a lot of them were putting these big ribbon tail worms on like a big Magnum shaky head and fishing them. And that's a new way to do it. So I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. But I saw this worm being used that way. I know our B2 is being used that way. And then obviously the FW8 works really well that way. So I did see that. And then, of course, I've got the B2 here today, done on the old school Texas rig. Now, this is what I call a really old school rig. You got your lead, you got the old, what I call J-style hook, which you can also use a wide gap hook if you'd like to, which I prefer the wide gap, but Brad, I know you like the old style hook better. So that's food for thought, but that's your basic Texas rig in it. You can also still Carolina rig this worm. You can put this worm on the Magnum head. I mean, there's lots of different ways to fish it. This is the way I like to fish it most of the time. But anybody can choose kind of the rig they want to use. And then, of course, you got your Magnum worm. And I really like to fish that Magnum worm on our mag head. Now, this one's not painted. I had to get one just out of the stock that was raw. But just what we call our mag head, it's like a shaky head. It's got a beefed up hook in it. It works really nice on this finesse worm. You can take that finesse worm and I will try to do it real quick. You spin it on there, and I'll show you what kind of presentation you get with it. Y'all just give me about 10 seconds here to get it like I like it. Twist it up tight against the head, and then basically thread that joker up and put it on some 17-pound line and go to work. It makes a real nice presentation on that head. If you haven't tried that head with this worm, you need to. It works really well. Brad, I know you'll vouch for that.
Absolutely.
You know, and then of course the other option that is use just our standard BBTW, which is just our ball head, shaky head that we make up to a 3/4 ounce. You know, it works real well with that worm too. It just doesn't have quite as big a hook as the mag head. What I like about the mag head is the big Magnum hook, a little harder, a little better hook. This bait comes in like a 3/8 ounce, 7/16, I believe, or 5/16, ½ ounce, and 3/4 ounce. So you can get some heavier type size heads. So those are some of the things to look at. Just like the way those three things work. But anyway, just to kind of refresh you real quick, 10-inch K-tail, 8-inch finesse worm, 10-inch B2. Summer go-to worms. Give them a try. I think you'll like them. Questions for today?
All right, a couple more from today. Isaac Beeman wants to know, do we make any craws? I'm sure you can.
Oh yeah, Isaac, I can write a book on craws. We even talked about, we had so many craws about making a t-shirt with all the craws on it. You can go with your kamikaze craw, basically your fighting frog. We call it a fighting frog, is a craw type bait. You can use the swimming craw,
college
craw. I'm just trying to think what else we got. This crawfish, the Yo Daddy's basically a craw.
Yo Mama.
Yo Mama. Just go to the website and just take a look. I think it's broken down in different types of categories. You can hit craws and they'll appear. But of all those, my two favorites probably, I like the college craw, the kamikaze craw, and the fighting frog the best of the three. I think they're the ones that really do the damage.
Absolutely. All right, and DD Outdoors 88 wants to know, if you're bed fishing from the bank, what baits are you using?
I wouldn't change anything I would use from the boat from the bank. Obviously, you're fishing in a pond. I would use some type of craw, or I would use some type of, the warmouth or something along those lines. I think one thing that might help you, though, is to have you some kind of bait that you can see that's visible, especially fishing from the bank. That way you'll know you've got that bait in the bed, and you can see the fish come and attack that bait. And I think that's the recommendation I would give, just to do that in a pond. And, sometimes I understand the water's not clear, but most ponds tend to be clearer than, say, a main lake. So as a result, you can see better. So I would use something that's very visible.
I'd say the only thing maybe to add to that would be like a 6-inch Pro Lizard, sort of an old school thing.
Yeah, that might work. Yeah, for sure, definitely. I think that's a great idea too.
All right, and let's see. Trevor Long 0000 wants to know, do we make any swim baits?
0000, we do. Definitely. We do the Pro Swimmer that I like a lot. We've got the Suicide Shad in 3 sizes. Your small, your medium, and your super large. We've got that B5 line through that we just talked about that we fixed to have a 6 in. We've got the Cane Thumper, which is the first swim bait we ever developed, which is still a good fish catching bait. any of those are good to kind of give you a little bit of info about them. The Pro Swimmer is a molded bait that's done by color, by mold, like a tilapia magic or a pearl. The Suicide Shad is hand painted, and that's a big difference. And then the Cane Thumper is also a molded type worm. So you got kind of two different styles to pick from. You can do a typical regular, what I call worm color, or you can do a painted version if you want to go to the Suicide Shad. So and they all come in different sizes. I think 4 different sizes in your Pro Swimmer, 3 sizes in your Cane Thumper, 3 sizes in your Suicide Shad. So got a lot to choose from there, definitely.
Sure. And the last one for today, and I think this fella here's already completed it, but Cantus Fishing was wanting to know if we were going to have another online tournament or friendly tournament. I mean, you know, we've still got the Fishathlon going on.
Yeah, Fishathlon going. I'm sure we'll come up with something. You know, we've done a lot of different things. That was a really good idea. I liked it a lot. We've had pretty good participation.
And it's still going on.
And it's still going on, definitely. The other thing we did one time I thought was really neat is we did a color contest where we let anglers, and the guy that won got like 1,000 baits for free, and we put that color in our line, and that color is still in there. Actually, that's Crime Scene. We're still using it. So you know, we came across something pretty neat by doing that, definitely. So that's some ideas, but we'll look forward to that for sure. Hopefully that'll come out pretty soon. And other than that, I don't really have anything else for today. I think we had a pretty good show, though. We appreciate everybody coming in and listening with us today. And remember, if you got questions, get them in. We'd love to just answer questions and not talk as much about baits, because talking about baits all the time gets kind of repetitious. So if you got your questions, get them into us, guys. We'll do our best to get them answered. It may take us a couple of weeks, but we'll get to them. From that time, y'all take care and have a good weekend.